This is a tutorial on the residential listing agreement. This form is independent of the Association of Realtors, and you can actually edit it online on our Forms Manager. If you sign in here, forms.cavour Realty, you can access this form. And this is very straightforward, but covers all the bases. I'll go through it here very quickly and show you how to fill this out. If you have any questions on where to find this form, just check out the link in the description. You'll start by putting the name of the seller or sellers up here. You'll put the name of the brokerage, the listing brokerage, the property address, the parcel number, which is like the tax ID, which can be found in property tax records, on the county assessor's website, on the MLS, a tax record database. Ask the seller. If you can't find it, just leave it blank and move on. County, you put the county the property is in, simple enough. Now, a listing period commences on, you want to put a beginning and ending date. If you leave one or both of these blank, this form becomes potentially unenforceable. So make sure you have a start and finish date to your listing period. Now we go down to commission. The world changed radically in terms of how commissions pay due to the original Sitzer-Burnett-NAR settlement. Now, this is independent. This is for agents that are not realtors, that are not subject to the terms of the NAR settlement. However, it's not as simple as just how realtors were affected. It's also that cooperating broker compensation has been villainized forever. So now the listing broker is charging the seller what the listing brokerage will collect. And that's why we have this number here. It used to be you'd put 5% or 6% or whatever, and then share half of that or something like that with the buyer's broker. That is no longer. Whether you're a realtor or not, there's a war waged on cooperating broker compensation, and it won't end until it's eradicated, even from non-realtor affiliated marketplaces. So a buyer's agent can still charge commission, and there can be dual agency if your state permits, but that's addressed at the time that the offer is written. For now, we're just doing the listing. So we put 3%. That's what we're going to charge the seller. The listing broker is charging the seller 3%, and we're not offering a buyer's agent commission online. Now that can be negotiated when the buyer submits an offer. Okay. Now you can also put in and add on a flat fee. Maybe you want to add in your transaction coordinator fee. Put that here. Or you can check this box and write a flat fee if you don't want to do a percentage here. And then you're protected for 90 days by default. Now you can change that here and put in less time or even more time. But even if this number in here is to protect you so that if you do work during the listing period and then it expires, the seller can't just go into escrow with the buyer the day after expiration. You're protected up to 90 days, okay? So it's worth reading this paragraph. Now, there's an advisory about multiple listing service, and there is a non-realtor MLS that I recommend. That's a separate topic though. So MLS advisory is here for good measure. Just like how we have the commission advisory, these are all here as protections for you because it's such a litigious environment for real estate professionals. All right, both parties initial, the agent. It doesn't have to be the broker of the brokerage, just the agent on behalf of the broker and the seller. Does the seller want to exclude their listing from the MLS? They need to initial here. Marketing, by default, the listing broker can have a lockbox and can have a for sale sign. But if the seller really doesn't want it, they check this box. Aside from that, just leave it alone. And by default, the listing broker gets to have a sign and lockbox. If something goes wrong, the parties agree to go to mediation as the first course of action for dispute resolution. So that's in here to protect both parties from having to go into expensive litigation. And then a couple other representations here for good measure and auxiliary space. Is there something that hasn't been mentioned that you want to add to the listing terms? Go ahead and put it here. And we're done. That's it. Everyone just fills out their portion on the bottom. It's 3 pages. And this covers all the bases. Cavour Realty is an independent real estate brokerage with no realtor affiliation, yet has all the tools agents need to sell properties. If you're an agent looking for a brokerage where you're not required to join a trade association, visit cavourrealty.com.